Do you believe in something called the caster curse? Because, just stating for the record, I don't. However, there has been a suspicious number of times where I only cast losing live games. Because it's from the perspective of like anime protagonists, and I only cast the losing ones. You can be like on a streak of... You could play a nice session of League that lasts 4 or 5 games, and you could win all of them except one, and that one is the one I catch. And that happens way more often than not. I have a suspicion that if I just don't watch anybody play, they will all hit Challenger. But regardless, I am still casting. Because I don't believe in such a curse. We have Immortals Edgy, the lesser known sub to Team Immortals of NALCS fame, in top lane playing Camille up against Malphite. Who is Immortals' current top laner? Alorum, I think? No, that's 100 Thieves, right? Who is Immortals' current top laner? I don't even remember anymore. Worlds have just started and I already forgot Immortals' top laner. Alorum plays for 100 Thieves, right? Like, don't correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember. In the jungle, we're gonna have Vi jungle up against Rek'Sai. Mid lane is gonna be Phase Rush Neeko against Yasuo. Cosplaying as MF right now, just to throw him off. Bot lane is gonna be MF Leona going up against main Pyke. So interestingly, I don't actually... Well, Neeko has W level 1 in melee matchups, because you do so much damage with autos. So let this trade go out and I'll explain. So Misfortune's gonna get queued up, flash forward, so many flashes forward, but actually the first blood does go over to blue team. Leona will be the one to take it here. All 4 summoners for red team have been blown, all 4 summoners for blue team have been blown. 8 summoners later, Leona gets first blood, Vayne goes away with a kill. So overall advantage to Vayne. Neither ADC gets the farm. Team advantage to blue, because support did get the first blood there. However, it's going to be the difference between boots and refill pot, and that's a pretty dramatic difference here. That extra bit of movement speed combined with Vayne passive might make the audience a little bit scarier, and the Pyke beats Leona to level 2. Gonna chunk out Leona's health to half. So pretty good start here by red team. But yeah, what I was gonna say, with Neeko, level 1, if you start W against specifically the Yasuo matchup, don't cosplay as anybody. The reason is because you start level 1 in melee matchups because your W third hit does so much damage early on. You could bully almost any melee out of lane. And that third hit cannot be blocked by Wind Wall because it's not a projectile. Unless you cosplay as someone. Then you inherit their projectile properties and you no longer guarantee third hits. So if you're in this very specific situation, I know it's cute to cosplay as a teammate. Don't do that. Oh, nice turn coming out from the top lane. Rek'Sai gonna get clipped. Flash! With the precision protocol. Camille's gonna get the damage down and Vi will finish it off. Surviving is almost no health with that tower dive, but they do kill off the jungler and the Misfortune gonna get hooked. Vayne goes in for a cheeky hit before tumbling away. But Misfortune is gonna walk away with a CS lead here. So overall, bot lane for blue team is not looking too bad here. They will have the CS edge after this. Yasuo going to walk slightly towards Neeko, and that's enough to scare the W out of her. Now we go back to farming. Rek'Sai has been put behind. She lost double buffs to Vi. That was a really good tower dive coming out from blue team, coming up top lane. Vi does walk away with very little HP. Maybe one more hit from Malphite from anything would have converted the kill. Oh, Camille. Yep, Precision Protocol arms in time, and she gets that solo kill onto the Malphite. You can't disrespect Camille damage early. Neeko will get hooked back, but she will return some damage onto Yasuo. This is actually a lane that kind of favors Neeko. It's very difficult for Yasuo to engage on a Neeko. Neeko doesn't care too much for his mobility. If it's a Glacial Augment version of Neeko, then you actually do really well into the lane. Oh, the Wind Wall will block all of Neeko's damage combo, but it doesn't matter, as Vi's excessive force comes out with the extra damage, killing off the Yasuo and mid. I will make the claim that Yasuo into Neeko is a very hard matchup to play for Yasuo. You cannot win wall Neeko's W damage in lane, so she actually stands a chance of fighting into it. And post 6, Nico loves it when you try to engage on her. If you ever tornado her and try to commit with the last breath, she can easily turn the damage around with a single ultimate. Nico's ultimate cooldown is also lower than last breath at level 6. Obviously, higher ranks, last breath will have a lower cooldown than Pop Blossom, but not so at rank 1. They might tie actually. Worst case scenario is tying, but I do know that last breath cooldown at rank 1 is disgustingly high. It's like 90 seconds base. Camille going forward for the adaptive shield. Oh, that was a very ballsy Hextech ultimatum, but it does lock up the Malphite. He's just not having a good time here. He might have thought that he could kill the Camille, but because she had the adaptive shield, she could absorb the ground slam and cheese wheel damage, or seismic shard if you prefer the actual name. So Malphite's only tool really was his W, or if you prefer the actual name, Brutal Strikes. I don't know why I remember these. He might have thought that with 2 more autos he could kill the Camille, but once the ultimatum came down, it was for sure who was gonna win that fight. It was just decided straight up. And now they have to be careful. Bot lane's getting engaged on blue team. Leona, she might look for the Zenith Blade here, but the Undertow is coming out. They have to be very careful here. Now, if this was my Nico, and it's not, but if this was my Nico playing mid lane, cosplaying as Vi, really? Does Vi have higher base movement speed than Nico? I think they tie. Honestly, like most Nikos, myself included, just uses your passive to get back to lane faster. There's like a 5% of the time where you actually use it to a productive degree. Although that's where the highlight reel comes from. And this is something I also disagree with. Once you get back to lane against Yasuo, Yasuo is one of those matchups where Nico wants to stay as herself, because her own auto attack properties just has enough range and unblockability by wind wall that staying as Nico the whole time in lane is very beneficial. And as a filthy Nico spammer, I will say that Nico is a surprisingly flexible champion. She can slot into a ton of builds. You could just go traditional nuke with what's this classic Comet or Electrocute if you're ballsy, and just build Ludens into traditional, or you can just take like Predator or Phase Rush and turn yourself into more of an engaged tool. Although granted, that's more like Grenade Amumu. It's more like Grenade Amumu in terms of viability, where you pull the pin, you run in, and you're probably not coming back out. You can even play her as an AD variant, and I have in fact, and I'll confess to this, messed around with Tank Nico in the past. It works surprisingly well, given the right set of circumstances. Although take that with a grain of salt, because, you know, base 20 armor doesn't necessarily make her a fantastic tank. A beautiful heal coming out from the Misfortune. That's going to get her out of execute range for deaths from below, and now 2 very low health bars over here on red team. Leona's gonna flash in, going for the Eclipse Burst, and she somehow gets it. Pyke has no ultimate, but here comes the Rek'Sai to finish it off. The Misfortune has returned to the fight, but she has no mana. One more hit will do it. She does get the Pyke. Flash Unburrow from the Rek'Sai. She is eating well tonight. One more bite will do it. No, she can't get it. The Prey Seeker will land. She needs a little bit more EXP, maybe? Oh, one more minion would have done it. Oh. She has Smite! Okay. This is a very rookie mistake, I like to say. She has Smite. One thing that a lot of people do, and I guess if you're solo laning a lot, is something that naturally comes to you, is the ability to gauge your own EXP bar. And you have the sense of, if you need to desperately level to hit a skill. In this case, Rek'Sai needed ultimate to kill Misfortune, but she seemed to be unaware of her own EXP bar. In that case, the correct play is absolutely smiting any minion, getting to 6 off that 1 kill, and just ulting Misfortune and getting that kill. It's a skill that a lot of solo laners actually learn, and actually, no, I'll even go ahead and say like most laners will just naturally start learning. Just the amount of EXP you need to hit the next level, constantly being aware of your own EXP bar. And in that case, that's one of those admittedly kind of rare circumstances, but it did happen. Case where one more CS would have given you a kill, but the Rek'Sai wasn't able to identify that. She had the smite, she had the tools to make that kill happen. but it certainly didn't. It was a missed opportunity. Now meanwhile, Camille is just typing smiley faces in non-chat, which is one of the more passive-aggressive forms of trash talking, and I will say it's very effective. If you want to trash talk someone, just a simple smiley face after doing a cheeky solo kill on them is the fastest way to tilt the enemy into oblivion. Although, admittedly, it is rather lazy. There could be so many more things you could do as a BM, and you just type a smiley face. It's effective, but I just think it's lazy. Ooh, that's when Below gets whiffed here, but it doesn't even matter. 2 for 0. 2v2 kill in bot lane. 2 cuts going over to each of their bot laners' pockets each, respectively. 1 each. Sentence structure is hard. 9-5. Blue team still has a solid lead off the back of their top and jungle, for the most part. Bot lane is actually holding even as well. If you convert the CS to real gold, I'm pretty sure MF ties. Yeah, it's more or less a tie. So still overall advantage to blue team everywhere except mid, where Yasuo has amassed essentially a small country's worth in gold, and the Nico is quite poor. She is going with Luden's Echo first, which I will say, if you're running Phase Rush Nico, don't. Phase Rush Nico really wants Proto Belt first. Luden's Echo is very awkward to slot into on anything that is not a Comet or Electrical Nico. She is going for a dive top, whiffing absolutely every ability in her kit. But Camille is flying in. A little bit of a disjointed engage. 2 members are on their way out, but this might be a bait engage. No! The Pop Blossom goes way wide, and that Tango Barb is just going to serve as PO. Camille has to try to run. That's 4 people coming in. Nico will be the sacrificial lizard here, and she will be sliced apart by the Yasuo. He gets his 3rd kill. The Yasuo, whose name is only numbers, is on par to carrying this. But can he carry hard enough to make up for his top and bot just getting smashed in lane? Now usually with 1 winning lane, you should just play through that lane and just make them ridiculously fed and give them as much income as possible. So right now it's in Rek'Sai's best interest to just break that tower at mid to enable the Yasuo to just really make a lot of noise in the other lanes. Although she seems to be covering top at this particular moment. There's really no need to, as that tower is not in any danger of dying. A Malphite, honestly, worst case scenario, he could just TP back. Ignite does go out. Vayne gets killed by the last wave of bullet time. And now the Pyke trying to make a play happen, but he cooks onto a minion. The Yasuo has arrived here in the bottom lane. 1 stun from Leona is needed, and it is gone down. But MF cancels an auto on her way out. Flash in from the Vibe, but it's a little bit too late. Malphite takes a kill, but the Yasuo drops dead. That's a worst case scenario here for red team. They're running out of damage, and the Malphite has nowhere to go. Rek'Sai up top cannot do anything either. Malphite teleports to his own death. And GG. Honestly, it took the words right out of my mouth, but maybe it was a little bit less eloquence. Although I will say this game is not over. I think Camille is getting a little bit cocky if she's just calling offensive GG like this. From someone whose first exposure to competitive gaming is StarCraft, competitive as in like ranking and laddering, not in terms of like being pro. a lot of things in League just aren't okay in StarCraft terms. StarCraft has very strict manner codes for the most part. Most players GG. Admittedly, I don't GG in League of Legends most of the time. Only in like tournaments and actual events do I hit GG. That habit is just... I had that habit for StarCraft, and then I played League for like 10 years, and around year 2 of League, I just stopped typing GG. It just got essentially beaten out of me by all these players. But so many things in StarCraft you never do in League. You would never offensive GG, which is just calling GG too early on behalf of the enemy because you're winning so hard. Offensive GGing is very BM. But in League, it's like every other game. Players in StarCraft never really camp out their opponents or just show off. I guess like in StarCraft, the equivalence I remember like that one game back in 2005, 2006 where Jaedong built 6 hatcheries in Firebat Heroes base because he had a personal grudge against the guy. But I guess in League the equivalent would just be fountain camping, and you know, you sometimes see that if you're stomping. There are a lot of BM stuff in League that I guess in the olden days of competitive gaming you would never see. Or at least if you saw it, you'd be like, wow, this guy's a douche. But in League, it's just every other game. It's very interesting watching the dichotomy of these games grow. I will say that coming from the MOBA background, offensive GGs or like defeatist GGs even, early GG calls, they're pretty common even in the days of Dota 1. So I'm not necessarily surprised by that. Like, I'm certainly not... This whole tangent isn't necessarily me making the case of, oh my god, look at how toxic League is, because as strange as it sounds, and without full context, it will sound crazy, but I don't buy that stuff. I don't think League is that toxic. In terms of MOBAs, League is not that toxic comparatively, but in terms of every other game, yeah, of course, League is very toxic. But it's not so bad compared to the other MOBAs. Have you seen the other MOBAs? League at least makes an effort for you to make it borderline impossible to throw your own team. Nico going for the re-engage and the dunk. Actually kills off the Vayne, but that is not going to be enough for her to survive. She gets her first kill of the game, and Rek'Sai immediately claims 300 gold in her own pockets. Leona and Vi have to run for the hills. There's too many here in mid lane for them to fight. Although right now, blue team is off to a commanding gold lead. Malphite picks up his Sunfire's cape. The legendary 17-minute first item tank. Now, tanks can be effective with almost no income. That's one of the appeals of tanks, where you can just engage and let the rest of your team take care of it. It does rest on the condition that the rest of your team can't suck, and right now, I guess Yasuo is still trying to hold his own weight, but for the most part, Vayne is getting obsoleted by Misfortune, Rek'Sai is getting obsoleted by Vi in a really big way, and Leona's more useful than Pyke in teamfighting situations. Harrow number 2 might go the way of blue team, and it does. Rek'Sai tunnels in, but can she find anything? Immortal Edgy gotta get himself out of there. Vi will queue away. Oh, and there it is, the flash engage coming out from the Malphite. Can Misfortune make it out? No, she cannot. But that is a 2-man Pop Blossom coming out from Nico. However, blue team have already run out of damage, kind of. Nico is in the tight choke, so they do get the kill. Meanwhile, top lane Vayne solo kills the Camille. And now Malphite is on the run. After a pretty successful teamfight here for red team, they do catch 2. They lose 2. But Vayne wins the 1v1 up top, and they kill the MF. A tard, says the Vayne. A tard. A tard. I'm not gonna sound it out anymore, but open DMs, throwing some BM back. The instant Camille dies at her hands. People do want to get the last word in these BM arguments, so I do kind of get it. Mountain Drake is coming up in 10. Both teams are pinging the crap out of it. But blue team, they're quicker to the draw. They already have vision set up. I keep preaching this. If an objective is up, be there 40 seconds ahead of time. Vision wars can last a long time, and the initiative means everything. Nico sends her clone in. They do spot out 4 people. And red team's entry angle is clear as day. Malphite coming in with no ultimate. He's making this really obvious, by the way. Red team will get the steal, but is it gonna be enough? Bullet time leaves every member critical. They will get 1 kill onto the Yasuo, but it's gonna be 1 for 1. But red team walks away with the Drake. That's worth it for them. However, it is not worth it if Camille pushes all the way into the base. They need to go back. The recalls are being stopped. Rek'Sai is doing Grump. You dummy! Death from below from the Pyke will also whiff, but the Leona will be killed out here by the Vayne. However, it's not enough time. They cancel too many ports. It's a little bit too late. Blue team wins this in such a huge way. They will happily give away a Drake. If it means Camille gets to do this up top. Vayne coming back in for round 2. Now she has no sums. Is it going to be enough for her? No, it's not. Precision Protocol slices her open. One more tower falls. That is one of the most effective Rift Heralds I have ever seen in my life. That was very intelligent of you. Okay, I'll give. It's funny, okay? It's freaking funny. Sue me. Alright, but I do want to check one thing. The goalie right now, 9k. What was it when this play first started? Let's rewind all the way back. How much gold did the blue team make off this one sequence of events? They made about, I'm gonna say 2,000 gold off this one sequence of events, which is a really good swing. Well, not swing, it's a really good advantage forward. Although I don't understand why Rek'Sai was at Gromps. You don't have to kill the Gromp. You lost Dragon, just recall. What are you farming Gromp for? Recalling is priority number 1 when there's a Herald in your base. The goal lead gets extended to almost 10,000. 9.5k, we'll round up. No additional kills coming out. Miss Fortune blows her flash to get away from the Pyke. We saw it in fast forward there. Infinity Edge is picked up by the Miss Fortune. And you can see nobody really has base defense as a top priority. Camille's level 14 to Malphite's 13. And as a tank, that is an unforgivably bad lead. Since we last checked in on him, Malphite has afforded 300 gold worth of additional items in the form of a single piece of clothing, which is just painfully slow progression for a tank. In fact, I think Camille just straight up has more armor than him at this stage in the game, because Malphite just doesn't build any. Well, okay, that's a little bit of an over-exaggeration. What I really meant to say is like effective health. I think Camille just has more effective health because it's 3 levels up. More HP, more items. Blue team will secure Baron. Without any incidents, Precision Protocol slices open the Pyke. Camille will flash away to be safe, but the Rek'Sai has found the mark. She pounces, and the ulti comes down. Here comes the Malphite. They get the Miss Fortune. The control on the backline is pristine, but it is enough to wrap up the fight. The Vayne is going crazy. There's no damage to check her. She is free hitting. She's killing everybody, and now it's just the Leona. Triple kill goes to the Vi, but will the Vayne get an even bigger streak here? Double kill and another triple. 3 triples trading back and forth. However, that is overall very worth it here for Red Team. They throw away the Baron. In fact, that is a negative 500 gold, give or take. 500, 1,000-ish Baron. So that's just one of the worst Barons I've ever seen. But Red Team will lose their last turret guarding their Nexus. They have 2 turrets left to their name, neither of which defends the Nexus. It's going to be a very tricky prospect for them to play this game onwards. They do win that one decisive fight, but they have no time left. Their timer is a candle and the wick has burnt out. It's just a pile of wax. They need to start winning right this instant. Start making things that can turn the game around. It is very much easier said than done at this stage in the game. Vi was nice 3-1. She's so incredibly strong. Although in the last fight she did dump her ultimate onto the Malphite and was not able to properly control him, so they get the pick onto the backline. It was a series of all the wrong spells being used on the wrong person from blue team, and red team finding the correct way to engage with the Vayne, namely having her come in last and mop up. But they need to find that kind of team fight a few more times for them to really take it here. Although the way that this game is going now, I can confidently say that I am not caster cursed. Oh wait, but the Pyke! The dunk comes in and kills off the Leona, but the Rek'Sai was not able to burrow and get away in the nick of time. So that's going to be a 1-for-1 trade so far. Camille walks up a little bit too far. She has a hookshot out. And that means that is all of her control tools to make it rain. Will try to slow down the Vayne, but the final hour speed is there. And here comes the Vi for the re-engage. They connect onto the Vayne, and here comes the Peel. It's not enough. They lock down the Vi. Here comes the Nico dropping in on only the Malphite. Can they control him? Yes, they can. More bodies here drop. It's just the Vayne left, and she cannot win the 1v2. GG is called from both sides. Camille has teleported in. She is now ending the game. Open DMs has left the game. All planned easy. As they say, BMing the whole way, leaving the game with a W.